Oh my goodness, we're live. Will you look at that? Hair looking fine. I'm looking horrible as per usual. Looking fat. I gotta stop taking shots at myself. That's not nice. Oh, my neck. I don't know about the rest of you, man. I have had a horrible week. I'm tired. Oh, my neck. I don't know about the rest. I'm tired. They got the game tonight, obviously. I got to go to the gym after. I got stuff to do all week. I saw that garbage Mario movie last week. Like, I'm wiped, and it's only Monday. But we're here, brings me a little bolt of energy before the natty tonight. All right, so welcome to the Voice of College Football. Missouri, good God, my hair. Missouri Tigers Live. I am Zach Aurelius. I am here every Monday. Most of the time, got the Matty Mock shirt on underneath this jacket, I promise. Here every Monday to talk about Missouri Tigers athletics, mostly football, but it is April 6th. There's not a hell of a lot going on, if we're being perfectly honest. This is the Voice of College Football, brought to you fully by Mark Rogers. Please subscribe to Mark Rogers TV, the Voice of College Football. He goes live every day, coast to coast, talking about this silly sport that we all love and have all grown attached to for no particular reason, much to the chagrin of my family and my loved ones, because they know in the fall they don't get me on Saturdays, barring like a wedding. And I have had a couple weddings. I didn't have one last year. I've had the ones in previous years, though, and it is what it is. But I'm just rambling. He goes live every day to talk about this silly little sport. So please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the man. You can, if you want to help, contribute to Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. All in show every Tuesday, and all in show presented by FanDuel. Going through just kind of some of this stuff. Visit our website, thevoiceofcollegefootball.com. You can see every show we have. If you're not a Missouri fan and you made your way here, cool. Good. Thanks for joining me. But go to the website. You can figure out and see if your team has a show, what time the show is, who hosts the show, and then we also have the store where you can get all your Voice of College Football merch. As we go and get ready for this season. This is Missouri Tigers Live. I am Zach Aurelius. You can find me here on Twitter. As my cats appear to be trying to fight someone that is outside. It's probably one of my neighbors just trying to leave, and Ollie thinks it's like an affront to mankind. All righty. You can find me on Twitter here at PsychoZ50 for all my inane ramblings and talks and what have you. Tonight, we're going to go over recruiting because that's kind of the main focus right now as we get pretty close to preview season and whatnot. And then we'll go around the portal for basketball. There's going to be some basketball notes here. We'll talk about around the zoo, the Diamond Sports for a couple minutes, and then we're going to get out of here. We got the national championship game tonight. Not really interested. I'm more interested by the portal starting than this game. It's just not, to me, a compelling game. Like, it is, but it isn't. For a national title game, it feels kind of like UConn, San Diego State a few years ago, where it's like, all right, we know who's winning this, but maybe we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead then and get started. Just recruiting for football. This is really what we're here to talk about today. A lot of these numbers and some of these notes come from 247. Some come from my own. Some come from Rock M. I'm subscribed to all the boards. I'm a nerd. We have a couple new people, a couple new guys that have set visits. One is Tari Miller from Miami, Florida. He's going to come June 19th. A couple other schools, Florida State notably pushing, and Mississippi State. I believe Mississippi State. Let me look at my notes real quick. I have so many tabs open. Mississippi State's going to also get a visit on June 12th. So if he gets out of Starkville, chance there for Mizzou to get a commit here in a couple months at the cornerback position. Mizzou is pushing heavy for a bigger high school class in 27. Trey Britton, a wide receiver from Belleville, Michigan. He was at Mizzou last month. We talked about that a little bit. And now June 5th, he's going to be coming from Mizzou. He's only a 3-star recruit out of Belleville, Michigan. But again, sometimes it doesn't matter with stars. Yes, there is that talent ratio to win natties. But as I've said a million times on this show, Mizzou's not winning a natty unless some radical changes happen. But when it comes to these kind of guys, you have to see who else is recruiting them. And if you look at Trey Britton, Michigan, Oklahoma, Alabama, also peeking around at the wide receiver. He's the 79th rated wide receiver in the country. And Jack Brown, a 4-star tight end. The head did commit, like we talked about, to Mizzou on March 17th. He'll be back officially on campus on June 5th. Probably to go over some details, make sure that commitment is solidified before he heads into his senior season of football at Francis Howell Central. Caleb Green, Caden Green's younger brother, he's one that strong chance he commits to Mizzou. He's a 3-star linebacker out of Lee Summit. He's the number 72 linebacker in the country. TK Cunningham is a guy we've talked about before too. They're really working the edge and both lines of scrimmage. They know they've fallen short in recruiting those spots, and not just recruiting, but recruiting, retaining, and developing. So they're hitting it hard. TK Cunningham, excuse me, from Chandler, Arizona, had played in Georgia. He has a schedule for Mizzou on June 19th, just like Mr. Miller. He's also going to go to Florida State and Purdue. Barry O got him to. He's probably going to end up there too. So these are just some recruiting battles as we head into the latter part of the spring here, or the middle of the spring. Clarence Johnson Jr., St. Paul, Minnesota. Look, Mizzou is really pushing a defensive end and defensive tackle, and you can see why. This year, you have Darius Smith transfer. You have Dayton Hopkins, who is a Mizzou guy, but you lost Newaneri. You've lost Jalen Brown. You've lost so much. And they have a lot of youth that are transfers. Dante Simpson, CJ May. These are guys that are younger, that figure to be part of the rotation at tackle and at defensive end, that you need to hit because you just haven't done a good job recruiting the trenches recently. It's not the end of the world. But you have Langdon Kitchen, who's transferred, Jaden Jones, and it's just a lot of not Dante Simpson, Malik Bryant. Sorry, Dante's a D tackle. Well, I did say D tackle. It is what it is. So another Clarence Johnson from St. Paul, Minnesota, 3-star recruit. Northwestern and Kansas also trying to get in there. Mizzou did offer Evan Villa last week, basically like right after we got out of here. He's a 3-star corner, he's a top 500 kid, 3-star corner. He apparently, let me look. Wisconsin's kind of the favorite there. He's close with their corners coach. I believe their corners coach is Robert Steeples. I have that in my notes. Who's been around, who recruits St. Louis well. Michigan State, Duke, they've all been kind of there. So Tristan Dare backed off his Michigan pledge. He, of course, then Mizzou immediately tried to get more involved there. He committed last year to Michigan. He knows Brandon Jones. He knows Chip Lindsey, obviously. According to Power Mizzou, Chip Lindsey was on the phone with him the night he decommitted from Michigan, which is crazy. He's going to be on campus this weekend for a visit. Again, another lineman. These are some guys that various sites and myself expect Mizzou to see this year. David Fuller-Unshow. Sorry if I mispronounced him. He is from Chicago, Illinois, St. Patrick High School. He's a top 100 kid. These are the kids that Mizzou needs to start getting. Like, it's good, and if you can just accumulate talent at defensive tackle, defensive end, offensive tackle, wherever, That's a good thing, of course, but you also need to be able to get these high blue chip guys and obviously keep them. He set up an official at Mizzou on June 5th. Indiana, Michigan, Notre Dame, Miami also looking at him. Look, Mizzou's 5 of 5 in terms of prestige out of those 5. It's going to be an uphill battle, but these are the types of kids Mizzou needs to win if it wants to take another step in this world, especially now that you have to play 5 or 9 conference games. Again, another defensive end, Success Nwabudike. I believe that's how you pronounce it. He's got that region of the country. He's from Athens, so that region, Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, all involved there. He's a 3-star recruit. Again, if Brent Key again, look at the coaches, not necessarily the programs. If Brent Key thinks you're a dog and wants you to play for him, probably a guy worth going after. And then Dallas Paldo, a defensive lineman from Rockville, Tennessee. He visited back in January, expecting another visit this spring. Just no date has really been set. And that's true for a lot of these guys. Frederick Ards, he's a edge from Orlando, Florida. The number 15 edge in the country. He visited Mizzou in January. He's going to set up his official visit, set up South Carolina, Alabama, Florida, Texas A&M, and Florida State. Mizzou's trying to, squeeze their way in there, see maybe if they can get a visit. Joseph Graves, again, this is a defensive line. I mean, as I keep saying, this is a defensive lineman, edges, offensive tackles. IMG Academy, Mizzou's done a good job with recruiting IMG, considering it's Columbia, Missouri. He has an official booked with Mizzou, and he's an official booked with Kansas. Frederick Ford from Greenville, Mississippi, official with Mississippi State, Florida State, Tennessee, and LSU. 4-star linebacker, 6'5", 190, so he'll need to bulk up a little bit, but that would be a big one if Mizzou can find the way to wiggle in there and try and bring him to Columbia. Kamani Williams from Memphis, Tennessee, has summer visits with Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee. They're trying to I know Mizzou's trying to get those guys in there. Let me see. I was going to click on something. David Fuller-Schuno. This is an update from Sean Williams. He's expected at Mizzou tomorrow. He scheduled an official visit with the Tigers on Mizzou on June 5th. He's recently been to Texas Tech, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, Indiana, as we talked about earlier. It's quite a list of teams that you're going to try to beat out there, but hey, man, you got to find a way to get some of these guys. Evan Villa, he's visiting Ohio State. The Ohio State is not extended an offer yet, but we will see kind of what goes on there. So we have Mizzou has a quarterback commit in Braylon Warren. He committed on December 4th. He committed when we were talking about the freaking bowl game. I think if Mizzou had to pick a running back, it'd be Myson Johnson Cook. He's visited spring practice, but you're competing against Miami, Ole Miss, and Auburn. Those are your main competitors. So your backup, they got Kingston Miles. This is a list created by Sean Williams, Power Mizzou, and then, of course, I have my Excels and stuff. Kind of what an ideal recruiting class. So you need to get one of these guys, or Kingston Miles, 4-star from St. Mary's. Jamal Roberts, come on, man! Let's do your thing. He's a visit scheduled in Missouri. He's also seeing Auburn, Alabama. Chris Harris has committed to Mizzou. He committed on St. Patrick's Day from Lee Summit. We talked about that a little bit. And then Lawrence Britt from Memphis, Tennessee. He's been around Mizzou a lot. I think that's a guy Mizzou's potentially very strong for. You just need more at wide receiver. Peeler does a good job recruiting. This level of guy. He's top 231 in 247's rankings. More the merrier, and he's a 4-star recruit. The big fish is Tay Walden. He is from Collierville, Tennessee. He's official booked with Mizzou this summer, but he's also looking at Clemson, Georgia, Oregon, and Florida State. it's going to be tough to beat out Georgia and Oregon if they want somebody. Look, it just is. Unless you're going to overpay, and Mizzou might overpay, but I don't know if wide receiver is really the spot to overpay. They already got Jack Brown committed. They kind of stormed the beaches with that one. They said, we're getting this guy, and then they got him. So good on them. Jackson Dollar is the other tight end. They're kind of keeping a look at. He's probably going to Notre Dame. Him and Alex Atkins have a strong relationship. He's the number 32 player in the country, the number 2 tight end overall. But he's probably heading to Notre Dame by all accounts. Which, Mizzou's already got a 4-star tight end commit, so you can't really blame him. At offensive line, and this is just kind of a recruiting reset, like I said, and then what I believe, and not just me, but Sean Williams over at 247, and in my Excel, like who Mizzou's top targets are at every position. At offensive line, Lua Alu, they already got him. See if he sticks. He did recently visit Indiana, which would be tough if Indiana. Look, can't blame a guy if they come calling, if the Hoosiers come calling, you can't really blame a guy if he wants to stay. Kyler Kuhn, 208th ranked national recruit. He's the Midwest guy, man, from St. Pius out in Kansas City. If you look at his offer sheets, it's, Iowa, Nebraska, Penn State, Oregon, Mizzou, obviously. He's a guy that the Tigers have really made a strong push for. He's a hoss, man, 6'3", 280 already. Just get a little more muscle on him, and he would be a strong anchor on the interior of that offensive line. I believe he's a state champion wrestler, too. Jasper Ngakwe, he's from Texas. He's visited Texas Tech, so I don't have a lot of faith that Mizzou's going to get him, but I did put him on my list. He's going to set up a official visit for the Tigers, so we'll see. But it again, when you're trying to compete, with Texas Tech, if they want somebody, and they can overpay a lot. So good luck, Mizzou. But hey, Braden Harris hit a really good Under Armour. I think it's the Next Series camp that just came and went. St. Louis, Arkansas, not St. Louis, it was in St. Louis. Arkansas, Kansas State, all the regional schools are in on him from Jackson, Missouri. Another offensive tackle in Caleb Johnson. He is from Noblesville, Indiana. Indiana, Michigan State, Iowa, Cincinnati, Mizzou are kind of the schools there. He's booked, I think, booked trips to all those schools except for Mizzou. So, again, I think this is more like the perfect class. Maybe not the most realistic class, just because I don't think they're going to – there are a lot of kids I don't think you can pull from like Indiana. And fair enough. It's and Mizzou is in the top 5 for 3-star offensive lineman Jalen Hill. It's Mississippi State, Wake Forest, Arkansas, and Troy. He's the 84th ranked offensive tackle in the country. Had a wonderful time on campus and meeting Eli, and I think everybody who meets Eli loves Eli. Looking on defense, defensive end Frederick Ards. He visited Mizzou back in January. Didn't list him among their top schools. He has scheduled South Carolina, Alabama, Florida, Texas A&M, Florida State, but at least scored in 247, and I'll take their word for it. There is a lot of momentum for Missouri. Wyatt Smith is a Missouri legend, or a Missouri legacy. His father's Justin Smith, NFL legend. He is an official for Mizzou set on May 29th. Not a lot of detail there. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but we'll see. We talked about Folashanu or Fulleruncho. Goodness gracious. Some of these kids, man, their last names are awesome. They're awesome names, but I just cannot pronounce them. Umbadi from Minnesota, a defensive lineman. He paid a visit. He was in Columbia in March. We talked about that for a little bit. Check out spring practice. He is looking for visits at Mizzou, Minnesota, and Michigan State. Dami Swanimi. He's been to Missouri twice. Another defensive lineman, 6'4", 260 pounds. He's been to Mizzou twice, so I kind of like Caden Green's little brother. I think there's a real chance Mizzou gets a commitment there. The number 2 recruit in Missouri is Prince Goldsby. We're moving on to linebacker. He took in spring practice at Mizzou, like a lot of guys. The Tigers have kind of made an all-in push on him, much like they did with Jack Brown. Alabama, Nebraska, Oklahoma also kind of lurking. Marshawn Ivy's been to Mizzou a few times. It appears, at least according to, let me make sure I attribute this correctly, Sean Williams. Mizzou is in the driver's seat, but Arizona State, Kentucky, Miami also kind of lingering there. At corner, Raheem Floyd is a 4-star from East St. Louis. He set up an official with Missouri. He's gone to Indiana, Wisconsin, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida are kind of pushing along there. Hey, man, like I said, it's going to be anytime you hear the words Indiana, like this Indiana thing is really going to make recruiting in the Midwest harder. At safety, Jabari Lofton's already committed, and Caleb Elkins from Indianapolis, Indiana, has books to Indiana, Tennessee, Ohio State, but he does have an official set for the Tigers next month. So that is the recruiting news for this week. As you can tell, Mizzou really pushing heavy at DN, D tackle. We'll see how it goes. They have a lot of work ahead of them. You know, there's no real debating, man. They've really struggled recently at developing and retaining at these defensive line spots and offensive line. So, and my co-host agrees, don't you, buddy? Come on, make your appearance. Make an appearance. Nope, screen's here. Screen's over here. Dork. Here, let me see if I can take this off. Alls, buddy, I'm trying to talk to the people here. Old jerk. Anyway, so that's going to cover our football part of the show. Just going through recruiting, man. That's all I was really talking about, unless we get some big news coming out. So check out our website, voiceofcollegefootball.com. Like and subscribe, guys. I mean, I'm happy I get a little more room to talk about like basketball, which in 2 weeks there's not going to be a lot to talk about with basketball. So, you know, that's always fun. But let's move on to Around the Zoo, man. Let's get to the diamond sports. Baseball. They're not good, all right? They're far from good, but they aren't embarrassing, which is kind of nice. They now sit at 19-14 overall. They're 3-9 in conference. They took 2 out of 3 against Kentucky, a ranked Kentucky team on the road. They have Missouri State tomorrow, and then they have a home series against South Carolina. I don't know how much any of you guys pay attention to South Carolina baseball. They're kind of a disaster. They were a powerhouse when I was a kid, and they are really struggling. They sit at 15-18, 2-10 within the conference. There is a chance for Mizzou baseball to make a statement and get out in front of this thing. And if you can win 2 out of 3, and now you're 5-10, and you keep pushing, you're probably not going to make the NCAA tournament. But, man, not being just a total disaster will be a nice way. Softball had a big opportunity this weekend against LSU after after sweeping Auburn. Had top 25 LSU come to town and then just got stomped twice and then won a 1-0 game. They go to Georgia this weekend. They probably need to get a sweep or 2 out of 3. They probably need to win 5 out of their 6 SEC games against South Carolina. Like, they have a nice stretch coming up. They have Georgia, who's not ranked, Kansas, South Carolina, who's not ranked, and Arkansas. They probably need to win. Let's see, that's 3 games. And then UMKC, and then they play Tennessee, who isn't ranked either. They have the schedule to make a strong push here at the end of the season. They currently sit 21-20, 5-7 in conference. Can they win 2 out of 3 in their remaining series? You know, if you win 2 out of 3, you got, let's see, 2-1, 4-2, 6-3. 8-4. 8-4 in that strand puts you at 13-11, 29-24 overall. You beat UMKC. You're 30-24, and after a horrific start, you're probably in the NCAA tournament. So, big opportunity for softball in the next month or so to get back into the NCAA tournament where Mizzou softball belongs. It's been a strong program. And then last thing, and this is going to be a little bit of a lengthier topic, and baseball that has a chance to make a big statement this weekend too. As I talked about earlier, Tay Walden Jr., this is from, as I just checked my phone, Tay Walden Jr., who we talked about in our recruiting section. He's down to 10 schools, top 5 recruit in Tennessee. He has Mizzou in his top 10, along with Oregon, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Or Ole Miss, excuse me. So I repeat, Tay Walden Jr., top 4-star wide receiver from Memphis, Oregon, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, and your Missouri Tigers are in the top 10. So that's a race Mizzou's going to stay in for a little longer. Last thing I wanted to touch on before I get off to watch the national title game, and this is a basketball topic, is the portal opens tonight. Technically, we know a bunch of players are going in, but you'll see a lot of contact stuff, non-tampering contact stuff. Before we get into this is what we see right now on the Missouri roster. At guard, you have Aaron Rowe, Jason Crow, Honor Boateng, T.O. Barrett. At wing, you have Trent Pierce, Aiden Chronister. Forward, Tony Bryant, Nick Randall, Luke Northweather. And at center, you have Trent Burns. I also do think, and there's been a lot of talk about this, they are going to be able to bring back Javon Porter. So you have 4 spots right now, buddy. 4 spots right now before, and if anyone else defects. What does Mizzou need to do with those 4 spots? Okay. They need a point guard. There are a million point guards out in this. There are a million point guards in this recruiting cycle. There are always going to be a million guards. There's a million combo guards. I would love for Mizzou to get a top one. Sorry, my computer's being slow, and I'm trying to pull up these transfers. I don't want the latest transfers. I want the top transfers. Like, would it be cool if Mizzou was able to go get a guy like John Blackwell, Juke Harris, Isaiah Johnson from not Jackson Shelstead. I was actually going through some Jackson Shelstead stuff. No thanks. But D-Dan Thomas, KJ, some of these guys, yes. Marcus Burton, Terrence Hill Jr. But Mizzou does need a guard. Because then if your guard rotation becomes kind of a 3-man, 4-man, we'll get into it. So if your guard rotation can become Crow, transfer, T.O., and then that's 3-man and maybe Aaron Rowe, but maybe you need another guard. Maybe you need like a Marquez Warwick or what we thought Jaden Stone was going to be this year. B, they need a wing, and they need a wing in the worst way. You can start Pierce at the 3. I'm actually okay with that. Your number 1 target at wing, and he's going to be tough to get. Like, there's no ifs, mans, or buts about it, but Jalen Harrelson will be perfect. And he was a guy Mizzou was going after hard for a long time. But he would be a guy I would want Mizzou to go after. Another one would be Jameer Jones, a freshman transfer out from goodness gracious, I cannot talk. Providence. Put up really nice numbers as a freshman, explosive athlete, would fit really well next to Pierce, and Crow's a shooter. I would stay away from LeJon Watts, but these are the kind I would stay away from Diabate. And then the big need, and Mizzou hasn't had a good one since Tillman, is a center. They're not going to swim in the Flory Badunga. They're not going to swim in the Cyril tier of centers. Like we already know, probably he's going to Arkansas. Badunga's probably going to Duke if he doesn't go back to Kansas or the NBA. But Mohamed Salah, is he somebody Mizzou can really look at? He put up good numbers when healthy. He sprained his ankle in early part of ACC play for Georgia Tech. 4-star recruit. He's a good player. 6'10", 240 pounds, averaged 10 and 7 last year. But if you look at his game logs, no, I don't want splits reference. I want. And then the other big issue is he shot 42% from the free throw line, but we don't need to get into that. If you look at his game logs, like against big time teams, like he had a game against Georgia, obviously in that rivalry, really struggled. 2 for 9 against DePaul, 5 for 7, had 10 points. Played in 2-3 ACC games. Guy had 8 points against Duke. Didn't play any minutes against Miami, and then hang on. He missed one shot, didn't start, played 2 minutes against Miami, missed a shot, and didn't get a rebound. And then against Georgia Tech, or against Clemson, he was 0 for 2, 1 point, couple fouls, didn't turn them all over. So he's a big, explosive athlete, but definitely very raw. It kind of depends what they think of Trent Burns and like what field they swim in. I don't know, man. You need to bring in somebody worth, like I've seen some talk about who's the kid from, or Fleming from Mississippi State. No, thank you. Aswan Uramunse. I believe I pronounced that right. If I'm wrong, sue me. He was 6.9, 7 points and 8 rebounds at Providence. Little light. He's only 220 pounds, but he's a guy I definitely would want to see in a Missouri uniform coming in next year. And then another center I know I've seen out there for Mizzou potentially is Connor Turnbull. He had a slow start to his college career at Purdue. At Butler, but he's come on last year at Evanston. He averaged 11 points, 6 rebounds. Again, he would kind of be the bargain bin option if you think that Trent Burns is more of a player than I currently think he is. Jalen Harrelson is the guy I think that you if there's one guy Mizzou needs to go all in for, it's Jalen Harrelson. He kind of just replaces Mark Mitchell. Deshaun Goody is a 6'8" forward. He could play the 4. He averaged 15 points a game last year at Robert Morris. He might be more of a bench option, but he did shoot 57% from 3 on only 2 attempts per game. So, but still. Another guy I know, but the issue is Mizzou isn't going to swim in these waters, is Alan Graves from Santa Clara. Averaged 12 and 6 last year, 41% from 3. Might go to the NBA. Had 17 against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. He's a guy I would like to see at Mizzou. I just don't have high hopes that Jamarian Davis Fleming, I am no thank you. I just have no hope that Mizzou would be. I think Mizzou will be in those discussions. As far as guard, like Corey Mincy from Georgia Tech would be someone I'd be interested in as kind of a third guard if you're determined to play T.O. Barrett. He averaged 15 a game last year at George Mason. If Mizzou does want a backup wing, Jaden Shutt, former Duke player, would be an option. He played last year at Virginia Tech under Mike Young. Just pulling up his numbers real quick. This is why I had so many pages, and I'm like, I can't now. I need to restart my computer at some point in the near future. He averaged 7 points a game, 1 rebound, 38% from 3. Like, he's a wing depth option. Corey Hadnot averaged 20 points. Like, you could throw a bucket, a ball into the ocean and land on a pretty quality combo guard this year. There's always going to be scoring combo guards from the lower levels, which is fine. It's going to kind of depend on how many spots Mizzou has. They need a wing, they need a guard, they need a forward. I would love to see them, and they tried. I would love to see them in on like a Micah Hanglogton. He didn't put up the best numbers at Florida, but he was playing behind some studs, and like Ruben Chinyelu. And he's kind of a guy you wouldn't be relying on him for 25 minutes a night. I think JP Estrella from a guy Mizzou has tried before. He averaged 10 and 6 last year at Tennessee. He's a guy I think Mizzou will try to get on campus. I wouldn't mind if they poached from the Beakers, man. Like, as for as much crap as we all love giving Bill, Bryson Tiller was a really highly regarded recruit and had a really nice freshman year for the Jayhawks. It's weird that both him and Badunga are leaving. Averaged 8 and 6. Shot 44% from the field is a little concerning, but that's okay. The big fish at the guard spot is going to be Marcus Burton. He is an absolute monster at scoring the basketball. It's Notre Dame is losing a lot. Like, it's really kind of bad how much they're losing, but he averaged 18 a game, 4 assists. My one concern about him was his defensive rating is a little high, but that's okay. Juke Harris, 6'7" combo guard. Like, you could play him at the 3, Pierce at the 4, and then you would need like more of a rugged big man like Bryson Tiller or some of these other guys or JP Estrella. From Wake, he would be kind of your start. I think if you got him, you would probably start Crow at the 1, or you'd put Juke at the 3. Excuse me. You could do that with him or Jameer Jones. Juke, 6'7", shot 33% from the field, 21 points per game. Like, my kingdom for him to become a Missouri Tiger. And then Jameer Jones, who we talked about earlier. I just want to pull up his numbers. So Mizzou fans, if you're seeing this, you can kind of see how good he really is. As a freshman last year at Providence, 12 points a game, shot 38% from 3, only attempted 1 per game. So it's not like he was high volume. 57% from the field, 4.5 rebounds, a stock or so. A little bit of a turnover issue, but he was young and he's getting high usage for a bad Providence team that wasn't coached well by Kim English. So those are just some kind of names I would like to see Mizzou kind of chase when the portal officially opens tonight. We'll have more about the portal next week. We'll talk more about Mizzou and recruiting next week for football. And before too long, it's going to start getting into preview season. But the national title game is about to start. I'm going to have a couple friends over. So thank you guys all for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. This is the Missouri, voice of college football, Missouri. Love that you guys are all here, even in the off season. I hope you had a wonderful Easter. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the Masters, baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever you're getting into. The playoffs are starting. Enjoy the Natty tonight. If you're a Michigan or UConn fan, hopefully it's a fun game. Hopefully it's a better game than I think it's going to be. And I will see you all next week.